Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Public Safety Committee meeting of June 1st to order. I'm Stephen Havey. I'm your committee chair. First on the agenda, please, we'll have the roll call.
Mr. Havey.
Here.
Mr. Rumfelt.
Here.
Mr. Barnes.
Present.
Mr. Sear.
Here.
Mr. Demick.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here.
Mr. Healy.
Here.
And Mr. Stockin.
Here.
7 present.
Thank you. First up, we have Brian Perkins, Stop DWI Coordinator. Please come forward, sir. Oh, we'll get it after Mr. Perkins. Thank you.
You can take care of that before I talk if you'd like.
No kidding, really? All right, thank you.
I don't mind standing.
An error on my part. It hardly ever happens. I need approval of minutes for May 4.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from May 4th.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second it.
And a second. Any corrections or discussion on the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is passed. We are now back on schedule.
We
Mr.
stayed
Perkins,
in
sir.
order. I don't know what you're referring to, Mr. Havey. We are on track.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir.
So thank you for having me up. I did submit my report, so you all have a copy of that. A couple things that I definitely want to hit is that we did start doing bike safety. So I've been in a few of the schools already. Had another one yesterday up in Fillmore. So that's been going well, getting to be in there, talking to the kids again and going through all the safety with them. It's about a half hour that I get it to go into each classroom of the second graders. Been into Alfred Almond, been into, geez, where else did I go? I shouldn't have started listing. I'm going to forget others. And I'm going again on Friday. So we're working through it, doing our stuff, giving them some goodies while we're there. Leave it with the teachers so they can give it to them at the end of the day. And we'll keep doing those. So that's going well. And then we did have some other outreach, doing some DWI drills. Mr. Lucky and I were in Friendship that morning. I forget the date. I didn't write it down in my report, but we were over there doing those drills. It was Wednesday the 13th, I think it was. Wednesday the 13th, did a drill in Friendship where they had a car that they had crashed kind of intentionally in the front yard of the school. Students came out. We were able to work with the fire department there. They responded. They went through the whole thing with it. And then when we did another one that afternoon, actually, with Andover and Whitesville students up on the hill between the two schools. So the students got bussed up there. They were able to stand on the other side of the road as the crews came and worked the accident. State police were involved. County sheriffs were involved. So we had a lot of participation from everybody. MTS had some representation there, although they might have been wearing another hat at the time, Scott, I don't know. So it was a well-coordinated effort on both parts. And then the next day I was in Genesee Valley doing another presentation with them. It wasn't a crash drill, it was more of similar to our victim impact panel. Mr. Lucky joined us there and Ann Weaver from ACASA, so we presented kind of a scaled down version of the victim impact panel to those kids. And then the thought is that we'll get on a rotation with the schools so that we'll alternate those years. So next year, Genesee Valley would like to do a DWI crash drill. Andover, Whitesville, and Friendship are going to do the victim impact panel, and then we can start weaving in more schools thereafter. So that's kind of the plan. That's what we've got going on. We did have a victim impact panel, our regularly scheduled one, last month, and it feels like it's still last week because it kind of was. But there was 22 attendees there, so those are still being attended. Numbers haven't picked back up to where they were pre-pandemic wise. We know arrests are down and all of that, so we're still getting some of those some of those that are coming in. So the next one of those will be in August, but we're getting back on track with those.
Excellent. Any questions for Mr. Perkins? Yes. Mr. Healy.
Yes, your victim impact meetings you have there, how many of those are county residents, or how many are out of county residents?
This past one, and I can get you the actual breakdown, but I think there was about 17 in this one that were county residents and 5 that were out of county, either from a probation incident or something like that. Cat County has still been sending us some of theirs. That's where we get most of the out of county ones.
Can you tell us what do we charge for out of county?
Out of county is $40 and in county is $25.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, Mr. Barnes.
Yeah, the state conducted a DWI over the holiday weekend. do you have anything to do with that?
The crackdown drill, well, they don't call them crackdown, high visibility enforcement campaigns is probably what you're referring to. We have done some of those. The sheriff's department's been good about organizing most of those, getting those in. We did St. Patrick's Day, we did the Super Bowl. I don't know, did we get one for Memorial Day? I don't remember hearing of one happening. But we aren't mandated to do them every one, but we space them out and try to do it, and there's a piece to it. So the next one that could be done would be coming up would be 4th of July time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions?
So I know you and I have talked about contracts with the police department, local PDs.
Yep.
Just for their sake that are watching, is there any updates on those? Because I know that's one of the things they call me about almost weekly.
Yeah, I do need to get together again with the treasurer again and finalize those numbers. We did figure out that we can amend our plan, our Stop DWI plan for the year. So we need to adjust those numbers, make those. We just hadn't arrived yet at our final numbers of what we were going to get to. With fine monies down, as you know, the Stop DWI program gets funded through the fine monies, and since there's so much fewer arrests and so much less fine money coming in, we've had to make some adjustments to what we're doing.
For everybody doesn't know, is Stop PWI funds special patrols for local PDs through the fine money that comes in. That's what I was asking about. And I know a lot of the Alfred's arrests are way up, but because of the court systems, they didn't get the fine monies in until it just opened up again. So that might be part of the problem too. But now they're catching up again. So hopefully next year it'll be back up.
Hopefully, as much
Well,
as I'd like
hopefully
to say,
not, because
I'm
hopefully they-
trying to
yeah.
work myself out of a job, right? I mean,
Right.
if nobody's getting arrested and nobody's driving drunk, then we did our thing. But at the same time, then there's no money coming in for me.
Thank you.
Other questions? Anything? Okay. Ms. Perkins, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is Mr. J.R. Santana Carter, our public defender. Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'll be brief. The numbers are the numbers. We keep opening up more files. Everyone needs help. We help them. I just wanted to state the last few weeks, we had 2 of my attorneys test positive for COVID. And so they had to follow the protocol, and they were out for at least 5 days. We're a small office, but luckily it didn't spread to go throughout the office. Had it spread, thanks to the assistance of IT, we've been working with them for months. We were ready. We've got a bunch of those Surface laptop computers, and if I needed attorneys to work from home, they would have did it, but luckily we didn't have to close down. So that was great. So now everyone's back in action. The only other thing I wanted to mention was recently our secretary of 12 years took a job with the court system. So I will be coming to y'all seeking to fill that position, but we'll do that a little later because it has to do with testing and things of that nature. Any questions?
I want to say thank you for being proactive with the COVID thing, because if you hadn't planned for that, that could have gone sideways in a hurry. So thank you for that. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Thanks.
Mr. Harris.
I'm probably going to get this wrong, but a couple weeks ago, there was some discussion with one or more people on the back table there about a provider rate increase for assigned counsel. Is that something you're familiar with? Is it happening? How's it going to affect your office?
It's still a hotly contested issue because there's some litigation going around on it. Based on needs in certain counties, you have judges that are considering issuing orders from the bench to raise the rates because they're having a difficult time in certain counties finding enough attorneys to do that assigned work. I think we're having problems here. I've been talking with the powers that be to see how we can help solve those problems, but there may be action coming to the legislators if it doesn't happen by the state sooner to ask for a local rate increase in order to provide representation in order to avoid lawsuits. Right. Well, I think we're lucky to not be sued because we have people in jail that don't have assigned attorneys appointed to them. And right now, all they keep doing is calling my office, and obviously it's a conflict, so I can't help them even if I wanted to help them. So that's where we're at.
Do you suppose there's going to be a ripple effect? Like if we increase the rate, or if we whether we do it on our own or if we required to increase the rate, will it make it more difficult, even more so difficult for us to hire in-house attorneys?
I think it definitely will be a ripple effect. I think we'll have to, we'll discuss the possibility of raising rates to make sure it's comparable. But I understand some places, some counties in Pennsylvania where rates were increased, it led to mass exodus from the government attorney offices, and they're having hard problems holding down attorneys because when they can get over $100 in assigned work, right? You can average 20 hours a week and make more than when you were doing on salary at 50 hours a week. So it will be an issue, and we may have to, well, y'all may be challenged with trying to get ahead of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am?
I just wanted to interject for a moment that the county administrator and myself have been, as well as with some other of the administrative staff, have been discussing the issues involving assigned counsel as well as our responsibilities under both the United States Constitution and the New York State Constitution regarding indigent legal representation, and the current crisis that is going on with it. Over the past few months, we do realize that we need to address the immediate crisis, both short-term and long-term, and we are exploring different avenues of what we can do in those areas. We are having some meetings with various people and exploring different opportunities, and we anticipate that we will be coming to the legislature in the future to discuss the various options that we have. But we are cognizant and aware of this, and hope that we can have some solutions to propose solutions to bring to all of you soon.
Yes, I want to thank our new county attorney for her comments there. And JR, I had a question for you, going back to, you stated that some of the judges were making orders from the bench.
Not locally, but I know it's rumblings in the court system that they've been considering other places, and maybe even local judges considering submitting those orders.
Okay, the county administrator, I think, wants to make a comment.
I just want to remind the committee that Mr. Carter runs the Public Defender's Office, and that is not responsible for the rest of the plan of indigent defense. That goes under a conflicts contract or assigned counsel, which my office administers with the help of the county attorney. And that while Mr. Carter is very knowledgeable on the subject, his answers really will pertain more to the Public Defender's Office, which is really only one piece of the bigger puzzle.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments you wish to make?
Just at the county attorney's office and the, no, I'm skipping Chris. They've been great, like I said, with accepting my input, and they've really been on top of things, trying to figure out how to solve this issue.
If there is an order from the bench, from a judge or justice, and it's disobeyed, that would be, what would there be, criminal contempt? Would there be some
Probably be criminal contempt.
some ramifications for that?
It would create some issues between both sides, if that would be safe to say.
Okay. I just wondered where they were going with all that. That's, I guess.
Right. So
Yeah.
it sounds like it's happening, but just like in the legislators, it's whether it's going to be all on the counties or contributions from the state.
Well, let's hope it's a state. Thank you.
I would assume if our judges, our local judges, were going to make that order, that probably we would know in advance and be anticipating those sorts of moves. I don't feel that we have any judges in this county that would just do that and take us by surprise. So.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Healy. Anyone else? Mr. Harris.
Just
I
my
see your mic
apologies
is
for
on.
bringing it up. But it is worth, it being on our radar that this issue is going to affect any department in the county that employs attorneys.
Most definitely.
Legislator Harris, I lose sleep over it every night.
Okay.
Somebody has to.
Thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Carter? Thank you, sir. Nicely done. Okay, Mr. Jeff Lucky, sir, Emergency Management and Fire Director.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just want to highlight a couple things in our report. As you can see, we've been quite busy, but May 14th, we had the exercise at BOCES that a couple of departments, Belmont and Wellsville and MTS and Amity Rescue participated in. We demonstrated how to safely remove people from 3 different things: a tank, a trench cave-in type situation, and a strike on a gas line type thing. Various vendors were there. It was very well received, and plans on having it every other year and going to BOCES in Cattaraugus County next year.
Okay.
The EMS captains meeting on May 19th. One of the things I wanted to highlight with that is there's been a new law presented, and just for your basic information, because we're still finding out about the new law, kind of just like with the last comment here before. But 209B is that fire departments can now bill in EMS. The fire departments that before could not bill before that. The interpretation of the law leaves a little bit to desire from different attorneys. Our county attorney was there present too to explain a little bit about the law. The main thing is if you decide to retain as a, I'll say, donation-driven agency, not go to billing, there's some concerns about ALS who has to pay for that. So MTS with Scott has also been helping with that, but we don't have anything definitive yet on that. But we'll continue to keep the EMS community updated. May 25th, we met with the BOCES regarding trying to get an EMT program in BOCES itself. It sounds like a potential thing probably in '23. But it sounds, we're moving forward on that. He thought it was a great idea, working with a couple different programs as well. So we'll be meeting again with him quite regularly. And if we do proceed, we need to have something in place by October to meet the '23 calendar year. After that, we've been quite busy with numerous fires. This past week, we had several different ones, nothing truly related to Memorial Day weekend, other than some people were out at camps. And so we had 2 cabin fires and 1 structure fire. And just an update, June 8th, we've been planning this for about 6 months now. We're gonna have a tactical EMS meeting, training. Chris Baker from Cattaraugus County is a great, and Dr. Walters will come over and we'll do a demonstration how to tactically EMS respond to a mass shooting and bring patients out. So that's coming up on June 8th. The other thing I wanted to touch on, last month I brought forth the SHSP and said that we're going to be a very short turnaround. Well, the information was correct. On Thursday at 5 o'clock, we received the grant notice with our amount of $59,750, and it's due, for the date here, it's due next Monday. So we have less than a week to submit that. It's a combination one with the law enforcement as well, and they've added some other rules, so we're still interpreting the rules. We actually have a meeting after this with our sheriff's department to go over how we might best use that money coming in. Same thing with EMPG. We received this on Friday at 5 o'clock. They were getting $23,456, and that as well is due in June 7th. So we'll be working diligently to get both of those turned in. Last thing I have, unless there's any other questions on my report.
Anyone have anything for him? Mr. Healy?
Well, in your comments there about the BOCES, you've met with BOCES, and that's been an ongoing process,
Yes.
Probably since last year anyways.
Correct.
Yeah. About incorporating the EMS training.
Yes.
And that's just for EMS for the time being, is that correct? Not also for fire or just?
The fire makes it a lot more difficult, so the stepping stone would be just to do EMS.
Well, we haven't given up on
No, we have not.
developing a program for fire responders also,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Main thing, the issue I've mentioned before is we don't have a college to associate with to teach that.
No,
part.
but those are both, in the outside world, those are both not only for volunteers, but they're
Yes.
both career paths and very viable career paths. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Last thing I had the MOE for the $2,000 to go towards the fire training for the association.
Homefield will make a motion. Accept.
All right. And a second?
Harris.
Harris will make a second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Thank you, sir.
And further in the calendar, just Bonnie is the president, and July 13th through the 16th, she'll be hosting the convention in Rushford. So, but we'll continue updating you on that as it gets closer.
And that's Bonnie's hometown, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Ian Jones, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
District Attorney's Office. Good afternoon, sir.
Apologize for the report being submitted late. I don't really have much to add to that, but it does kind of segue into what's going on with our office. We lost Kristen Mills a couple weeks ago, who was kind of running the show while our newer hires are kind of getting caught up to speed on everything. In the past, in our office, it's always been that certain people handled certain tasks and there was no overlap. We've been working over the last year or so to eliminate that so that everyone can do everything, with some exceptions when there's certain things that cannot be done. But so that everyone does everything, this is one of those. So now we have everyone in the office is now aware of and capable and can put the report together. Kristen was a big loss. She did a lot, but we have a great staff now. So no issues there, just getting everyone up to speed. Today is actually the first day that our new full-time attorney, Josh Frank, is in the office. So thank you to you all for approving that position. I do think it will be a valuable addition. He's a full-timer. He comes over from Cat County, where he was a prosecutor for 5 years. I talked to a lot of people who work with him over there, state police, other law enforcement, people in the courts. Everyone had a lot of very positive things to say about him, so we're looking forward to getting him rolling and integrated into the office. I think he'll be a valuable addition. So that's all I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Questions from anyone?
Mr. Jones, would you welcome Mr. Frank for all of us, please?
I was supposed to
he
bring him
here?
over, and when I was headed over here, I couldn't find him. I told him when he got here today. I said, "Well, I'll take you over and introduce you, everyone." But I couldn't find him. I think he was caught up. So I'll bring him over and get him
Probably in
introduced to
court,
everybody.
I would imagine.
He very well may be. I didn't ask. I just
Yeah.
headed over.
Well, thanks.
Okay.
We look forward to meeting him.
Yes. All right.
Anyone
Anything
else?
Ian, which position is he filling? Which assistant?
Third assistant.
One more quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Ms. Knapp, is ADA, is that one of those positions that requires residency or no?
It does.
And same with Public Defender's Office?
It does.
What about County Attorney's Office?
It does.
All attorneys in the County Attorney's Office? Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
I just want to say thank you
One more.
for you and Peter for answering all those late night phone calls.
Oh, hey, that's part of the job.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I don't think people realize it that we call you at 2 or 3 in the morning sometimes. So
It's part of the gig. Keeps us sharp. No problem. Okay.
Nothing else?
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Robert Starks, Probation Director. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. You have my report in front of you. I say that we had more JD and pins that came in after I submitted this report. I think we averaged about one per business day in the month of May, which is quite high for us. Not even even pre-pandemic, that would be a lot for us to handle in a month. But so our numbers are up in the juvenile side of things, as you can see here. We're almost half as many individuals through 5 months as we had all of last year. So I hope the trend doesn't continue, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. So
Mr. Starks, do you have any idea what you can attribute that to, or?
well, part of it is, of
Don't be
course,
bashful now, you can tell us the truth.
part of it, of course, is that schools have been back in session for, a whole school year. And so whenever, students mix with other students, there tend to be problems. There's school attendance issues where there wasn't for the last couple of years with, hybrid and at-home learning. So we anticipated that. There are those youth who have some, issues that their parents are not as equipped to handle. So they reach out to get some help from our department, and our department with other agencies that we work with and make referrals to do the best we can to try to resolve the issues. As you may or may not be aware, the state of New York has made it very difficult to file PINS petitions in family court on youth. And it's even more difficult to get the child removed from their home. Not that that's what we're looking for, but it's become more incumbent upon the community to do what we can do in the community to keep a child out of court. So it's become a bit difficult. I know schools are disappointed, I suppose. They feel like their hands are tied at times, and there are only certain things that we can do, and we do, I think, the best that we can. The JD population starting to catch up with the PINS. Maybe it's the advent of the nice weather and things going on. Kids are getting outside a little more, but like I said, hopefully it will slow down over the summer and won't pick up again in the fall. So.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, no more questions. Apparently, though, you do have some MOEs for us.
Yes, I think the first one you might have is the MOU between Healthy Families and our office. And this is simply just so we can make referrals to their agency, and if they come across someone that they think they should make a referral to our agency, they can do so. I'll be honest with you, I don't recall ever getting a referral from Healthy Families, but the agreement allows for it. Even if we didn't have the agreement, if they sent it, we would take it because we would have to. But for their purposes, apparently we need this agreement, so that's why it's out here for you to hopefully approve.
So moved. Harris.
Second, Seer.
Very good. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Next one, sir.
We need to purchase a new desk. We have one office with a, I don't know what you call it, but it's it's more than a desk. It's one of those office units. And the room's really kind of too small for it. If you have it in there and try to get people in there to meet, it's become a little difficult. So we just need to remove that. I checked with the county. Apparently there are no spare desks, and apparently we don't hold those anymore anywhere. So we're kind of relegated to having to purchase one. And I believe someone in Brenda's office found this particular desk, and so therefore we're asking the committee, because we're transferring from one account to another account, we have to, I guess, get committee approval.
Mr. Chairman, Legislator Healy will move that.
Harris, second.
All right. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Gilbert Green, Weights and Measures, sir. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, everyone. Get my report, short and sweet. Any questions? Don't be shy.
Mr. Green, I don't think I've ever seen an asphalt batch scale. What does that look like?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just look at the indicator. It's clear up in the top of the tower. They take a half ton of weights up there, or a ton of weights, and put on 100 at a time.
And that's how that's done? Huh, okay.
If it doesn't work right, I say, try again, and they go, okay. And they finally get it.
Okay.
Next time I do one, I'll let you know.
Well, you know, that would be delightful.
I'm sure.
You're buying lunch. Other questions?
They did have a lunch today. I was there and I missed it because I had something else going on.
That's unfortunate. Mr. Barnes, go ahead.
I don't believe this is under your valley work, so to speak.
Well, I don't want to know about that.
But with the effectiveness of the price decrease on fuel because of the state and local sales tax, do you have any
No, everything to do
anything
with
to do
price.
with the price changes and so forth, or checking to see
Just
if
quality
it-
and quantity.
Pardon?
Quality and quantity. You get
Okay.
what you pay for.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Mr. Green, I thank you very much. I believe
you.
we're done.
See you
Have a
next
wonderful
month.
day. Next up, we have Mr. Rick Whitney, the sheriff. Good afternoon, Sheriff.
Good afternoon. I submitted my report if you have any questions.
Mr. Barnes.
Federal prisoners, it looks, if I read it correctly, it's about averaging 15 or something like that.
Well, yeah, usually 13 or 14 lately.
Since the beginning of the year, has that decreased considerably?
Just not considerably. It was like 15 at the end of last year, and this month it was like 13 or 14, so.
And budgeting, is that less than what you had budgeted for?
We anticipated this, so we tried to budget for it, so we should be fine.
Thank you.
What was the, Sheriff, do you know what the approximate number of federal inmates was at the peak operation at the jail?
If I recall, it was probably 80, maybe 85.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have another question and another topic.
Go ahead.
Correction Academy graduation. Here, can you tell me how many graduated?
We had 7 graduates. Only 4 of them were from our office. 2 were from Cattaraugus County and 1 was from Wyoming. It's getting to be a small pool. It's getting difficult to find people.
Bringing in outside county people to the academy makes it more viable and also helps with the.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to run it with just 4, so we offer it to surrounding counties. They have the same problem we do, so if we can do it together, it makes more sense.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Mr. Harris.
with the inflation stuff, are counties starting to reevaluate their rates for housing in?
We haven't looked into it yet. With the population going down, and unfortunately, other counties have started housing the federal inmates that are, their counties are a little closer to the courts in Rochester and Buffalo than we are. So they're starting to put their prisoners in those counties. So we don't really want to try to raise it too much. We may lose everything.
Anyone else? Sheriff, I think you have a request to fill.
Oh, yes, I have a request to fill a part-time cook position. We had a part-time cook that left.
Harris
So
moves it.
moved. Seconded, Seer.
Okay. Questions, comments, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? And that is carried. Anything else, Sheriff?
I would like to also mention that we had an accreditation team come down from the State Sheriff's Association to look over our court security, and it's my understanding that we're going to be accredited by the state for our court security program also, so we should be hearing from them soon.
Excellent. Congratulations. I think that's well done.
Thank you. Anything else?
Anything else?
Okay,
Thank you, sir. Do we have any old business for the committee? Any new business? Pardon?
The administrator has
Oh, the administrator. Yes, ma'am.
I would like a very brief attorney-client session.
So
Certainly.
moved. Harris.
Second, Ruffelt.
All in favor? Aye. That's kind of a weak